We have to talk about the Nintendo Direct. It's been 4 days now, probably by the point I post this discussion, and there's been a lot of rumblings already all over the internet about this Direct. Some people love it, some people didn't. I find that very interesting because it really just it really just depends on your game taste. It seems like if you loved, if you were here for third parties and JRPGs, you're pretty much set. In fact, Zach, you can probably back that up. You too, Don. You guys ended up liking this Direct a fair amount, right?
Absolutely, yeah. I think the announcements were right up my alley, and I totally get it from a Nintendo standpoint. You know, like you said, there's a lot of good third-party stuff, but for a Nintendo Direct, that's not necessarily what everyone is looking for out of those. So I get the frustration, but I personally was pretty happy.
Yeah, same. I was really happy with this Direct, unusually so. In fact, I think it's one of my top 5 Directs of all time.
Holy crap! I'm happy for you. I mean, that's awesome.
Yeah.
It goes to show that, yeah, I mean, everyone's got different game taste, and the Direct that may not be for me, maybe for someone else.
Absolutely,
which is totally fine. And I will say, when it comes to third parties, I think a big point of this Direct is Nintendo's got them, like even more so than with the Switch, and that's actually pretty exciting, especially for those who don't own any other platforms besides the Switch. I do, so those don't appeal to me that much, but for those who don't, yeah, hey, that's great. Like, getting ports of games you've been able to play because they haven't been on the system you own, that's awesome. So, yeah, it seems like Nintendo's, like, when it comes to third parties, they're stronger than they've been since maybe the Super NES era, which is actually pretty saying something. Now, on the opposite end of the spectrum, I think of people like me and John. And John, can you describe how you were telling us your reaction was to this afterward?
Right. So I think you remember me messaging. I was messaging after. It's like I was trying to get to work on some stuff about the Direct, and I said, I think I need to lay down because I think I actually got a little bit of like physical depression after watching it, which I've never had to happen with the Direct before, and I've seen all the ups and downs of the Direct, so that one hit me especially just because the things I was excited for, they like announced them and didn't show anything. So I was just like, Duskblood. I was super excited for Duskblood. When it showed, I was like, woo! And then, well, nothing to show. I was sad about that. It felt like everything I cared for was swept under the rug. Switch Sports, let's focus on the most boring aspect, the thumb wars. Okay, sure. Let's not talk about Woohoo Island and maybe how you may be able to interact with it, which maybe you can, maybe you can't. I can't tell. So just that's how I felt. I was physically depressed for a good 15 minutes. I got over it, but like that was a good 15 minutes where I'm like, I have to lay down.
Yeah, I at the complete opposite direction, which feels very funny in hindsight, looking at your reaction.
I was energized.
Yeah, I mean, that's great. I mean, I'm really happy for you guys. I think the problem for me, and you know what's funny, some people are like, you're just upset about this. I'm like, I'm not actually mad about anything. Like, I'm just disappointed by it, right? Because I think for me, it felt more like a really elaborate partner direct. Like a partner direct with like a lot of good third-party announcements in there, plus a handful of Nintendo stuff, most of which had already been previously announced, with a handful of exceptions, with the big exception being the game that had leaked, via Nate the Hate, which I personally can't fault Nintendo for. That's not their fault that it leaked, though. By this point, you think they maybe should anticipate things leaking in advance and maybe course correcting for that. So the disappointment is that the big thing they ended on is the thing we already knew, and they barely showed any of it, And I think just showing a little bit more might have helped some people is deal with those feelings of disappointment. That being said, it seems like Nintendo's got like, a lot of games coming your way, no matter what, whether it's from them or third parties. And in a super objective sense, like top level, it's like, yeah, there's a lot of games coming. It's just, for me, not a whole lot of stuff that I'm super excited for that we didn't already know about. But that's kind of, I think it's where a lot of people fell, but a lot of people also didn't, in that they were just excited for everything that got announced, which is, hey, great. So, something else I want to do about this discussion, though, is we've each brought a main point we want to touch on, whether it's a point in general, a game we're excited for, or we want to discuss, or something else. So that's what we're going to be talking about. And the thing for me, I'll start things off, because the thing I want to talk about is the Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time remake. Because for as little as they showed, it's still a huge deal. And I've been watching that trailer a lot. I've been making some videos about it. I've been excited for it. I've been just analyzing everything that you can, which on the surface doesn't seem like much. But the more I think about this, my point is that I think this not only I'm trying to think of how to word this. I think this is a bigger deal than people are even realizing, in the sense that I think not only is it going to be a monumental release, I think this is going to be a much more of a remake than people are thinking. Even though we can't tell for sure based on the trailer, I am getting the sense that this is going to be a full-on reimagining of Ocarina of Time. For one, they call it, like, they kept calling it Reborn, I think both in the direct and in the press release. Nintendo's never used that word before, to my recollection, for a remake or remaster. They're calling it Reborn. There's no remaster mentioned anywhere in the press release. They don't touch on, they don't touch on things being remade or remastered for it. On top of that, we got a trailer with voice acting. It appeared to be diegetic, being spoken by someone that exists within this world. And then you see the graphics, like, dear God, this is far beyond what we've seen from any caliber of remake from Nintendo or remaster before. And then there's a fact too, now this could be me reading into things too much, is that, during the reveal, they go from the tapestry of seeing Link within the Deku Tree to his house. And again, I might be reading too much into it. I wonder now, though, does Link actually live within the Deku Tree now? Like, could that be his actual home? Maybe not, but, like, if it is, like, that would really show that they are rethinking everything about this game, and it has me excited. Final point on this, before we discuss this a little bit more among you, is that I was replaying the Ocarina of Time game a little bit today, just for footage, and it's like, this is the game that needs a remake. Like, it needs to be reimagined. It's a great game. It feels 30 years old. It looks 30 years old. It feels 30 years old. You can't remake it one-to-one and have it make the impact that they needed to, I think, as what's basically, I think what they're going to basically treat as a new Zelda game. Like, this is the big stopgap filler until the next big Zelda game, which probably won't be here for 3 to 4 years. So, and that's, for all those reasons, I think this is going to be a major reimagining of what this game is. Do you guys agree with me, or am I going crazy?
No, I agree.
I agree for the most part. I agree with the gameplay aspect that it's definitely going to be evolved greatly, because you can't just redo that, and with this modern technologies and how remakes have changed the game. Like Resident Evil changed the game of remakes. When Resident Evil 2 remake came out, that's like, people were like, oh, this is next level. This is basically a new game, but taking the same heart and story of the original. And I bet you that's what they're doing with this. And they might be going even bigger, because this is the premier Nintendo game.
Well, you know how you go bigger? You go with what that not rumor, I guess, the fear out there. They're splitting it up between young Link and old Link into 2 different games, like Final Fantasy VII, basically.
You think they're gonna do
No,
that?
I don't think for a second they're gonna do that.
I was just saying,
you go back and forth.
You go back and forth, exactly.
Yeah.
Imagine if they did, though. Oh my God.
Imagine you pull a Master Sword as young Link out for the first time. The lights are glowing. You fade into, like, the sky or the future, whatever it is, and then the words appear, "To be continued."
Yeah.
In
What is
part
this, Final
2,
Fantasy?
Ocarina.
The next game just starts 7 years later.
Yep,
What is this, Final Fantasy 7?
exactly.
I think this game is maybe one of the most interesting Nintendo games of, like, probably the last decade, and not just because it's Ocarina of Time, that's a legendary game, but because this is a game that is not going to be made in a vacuum. Like,
Right.
this is a game coming off of Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, 2 games that massively shook up the formula for the Legend of Zelda series, and that not only that, but a lot of people, their first Zelda game is Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom. That's what they know is Zelda. So if this is going back to the classic dungeon-based system, the classic acquiring weapons that allow you to do things within dungeon and unlock different areas, unlocking keys, master, boss key, all that stuff, it's going to be a little bit of a different change for that modern Zelda audience. And you go through, how do you sell the old school style to that modern audience, while also, I think this is extra exciting because there are a lot of Zelda fans who do miss that old style of Zelda, and this is the perfect way to be like, hey, new Zeldas are going to be this new formula we're going with Tears of the Kingdom, Breath of the Wild, but we're still making something that will appeal to old Zelda fans, and we're taking what you loved, and we are not just giving it a fresh coat of paint, we are fully embracing it and giving you a kind of reimagining that you would really want.
I have a funny theory is that they were going to do that with Star Fox, and then they realized, oh wait, no, this game plays fine.
Actually, yeah, that's a great point. I think honestly, Star Fox 64 holds up far better than Ocarina of Time in terms of like feeling like a modern game,
Sure.
Because it's a simpler game. It's a it's an arcade style game, and so that tends to hold up pretty well over time. Whereas Ocarina was, of course, much more evolved for its time, and it unfortunately feels of its time. It feels very aged. Still a good game. I'm taking anything away from it. I loved it as a kid, but like it's a game that you can see, it's a little creaky these days. So
it's funny. Sorry, I didn't cut you off. I was gonna say it's funny the parallels right now of the Switch and the Switch 2. This feels so much like the DS to the 3DS. Of the 3DS kind of got off to a slow start, and what were two games on the 3DS that we got remakes for? Ocarina of Time and Star Fox 64.
Yeah.
The parallels is crazy.
Yeah, I was about to say I was really late on the Ocarina of Time bandwagon.
The original game?
No, I played it originally on the 3DS.
Oh wow!
Wow.
Yeah,
Good version.
I had completely different interests back then. I didn't care enough about Zelda. So my first experience is still Ocarina of Time 3D. And even within that gap, I'm like, it's been 15 years. I'm cool with another version of Ocarina of Time.
Well, someone pointed out, and I hate them for doing this, but I've done similar things on Twitter, so I see why people hate me for it, is that the gap in time between original Ocarina of Time's release to the 3D version is less now from the 3D version to this new remake. That's crazy to me, because even at the time the 3D version came out, Ocarina of Time felt like it was hella old, and now it's like, Jesus, like, now it's super old, and it has been 30 years basically, so it makes sense. But yeah, I think that kind of ties into what Zach was saying, is that this is kind of like, a chance for them to kind of modernize this game, at least I'm hoping, to not necessarily be in line with Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, but take some lessons or some ideas from those games, whether it's a presentational sense or, maybe how the physics work, where, everything's not so rigid and based on these very, one solution for each puzzle type thing. Maybe they can broaden it a little bit. I really don't know, but I really am hoping that they are rethinking everything. And it may and even beyond that, it may offer a clue as to where they're going with Zelda in general. Maybe it'll show how you can kind of marry these two different styles of gameplay into a game that's cohesive and makes sense without going, all the way into full open world territory. Maybe it doesn't. I don't know, but I am excited, and I think, I also think seeing the graphic style, which some people are already taking, like, some people aren't a huge fan of how Link looks. I don't think we've seen enough to fully judge one way or the other. In any case, it is clear that they're really making it look far better, maybe more realistic too. And I also can't envision them retaining the same world structure with those graphics, if that makes sense. There are parts of that world that will look really weird if they look that good, but they keep the same exact structure they already have, which is again why I'm thinking they have to redesign everything. They're going to re-envision how everything looks. Not that it won't be recognizable, but I think they are going to take the opportunity to rethink how everything is shaped.
I wonder how much the design philosophies they're taking from recent Zelda entries. Because, like, it's a very rigid game. Like, it's very closed off and walled off from one point to the next.
Yeah.
Which is going to be a big shocker for those who grew up post that.
Right. Unless Metroid Prime 4 was our first game, they'll make perfect sense. Like, oh, I get it. No, that's a good point. And I don't know, and that's the kind of structure, like, I don't know if they can really change that much. And if they did, people might be upset. So it's like, how can you bring in elements with Breath of the Wild without sacrificing what people already like? And that's where it gets complicated. I don't know if that even is possible. Like, can you add climbing everywhere? Maybe, but then what if you go to Gerudo Valley when it's your first, when you're just an hour into the game? Like, that's going to throw things off a little, a lot. So, I don't know, but maybe you can. Maybe they could make it where, you can do any temple you want now, and that unlocks... I mean, I guess it couldn't unlock. I mean, I guess that's a fundamental question of this game, is how do you marry those two? If you even do. Maybe they won't. Maybe they are just treating it as a super modern Ocarina of Time. Kind of like Resident Evil 4. It didn't the remake. It didn't reimagine that in the open world setting at all. It's still very linear. So
Yeah, I think when you talk about it, them reimagining it for the modern, one of the things that comes to mind for me is specifically Hyrule Field. Like that, Hyrule Field felt massive to us, when we were playing it on the N64 for the first time. But in the world of open world games, modern gaming, it is going to feel quite small. So it'll be interesting to see if maybe they grow that, maybe they add some areas that are able to explore. And I kind of like the idea of working in some of those Tears of the Kingdom Breath of the Wild elements, specifically because you see in Tears of the Kingdom Breath of the Wild with the shrines and with some of the what are they, the beasts, that in those you can't climb walls and you can't use certain items, that like there are restrictions in there. And I think if you have those same restrictions for dungeons, you can get away with allowing you to use a expanded moveset in the overworld in regular Ocarina of Time.
Yeah.
What if they connect? What if this is their chance to connect Ocarina of Time to Tears of the Kingdom? Like, what if they take like what was kind of like taking already from Ocarina of Time, like, you know, the ruins of like places from that, and they kind of pay respects to it by keeping the same scope and layout. Like, what if this is their chance to kind of like cohesively tie things better together?
I mean, totally. I mean, that is an opportunity, and you know, even into subsequent games too, perhaps. Knowing Nintendo, probably not, but anything's possible. But getting back to your rethinking of the Hyrule Field, Zach, like, just one idea I just had is maybe, you know how Hyrule Field currently branches off into this, like, it's a big field, not a whole lot to do. There's like tiny little passageways that lead you into each region, right? What if they expanded Hyrule Field to encompass those passageways, where they're no longer tiny passages, but now you can approach it from any number of directions. But it makes it feel more natural, so you can more organically come across these areas. It doesn't feel like you're being railroaded down specific pathways. And I don't think anyone's particularly married to those pathways anyway, so that might be one idea. You can make it feel a little bit grander, I suppose.
Basically breaking all of the walls down and making sure that it feels open in it.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
We're not gonna have the little Kakiri guy like crab stepping blocking your way, like
that guy's amazing.
Playing goalie.
If you look at the mural, they still have the guy picking up the rock, though, the Korok kid.
Nice.
Or Kokiri kid, rather. Sorry. Yeah. Anyways,
eternally struggle.
Any other thoughts on Zelda here before we move on to another topic you guys have?
I wanted to branch off of what John was saying about how it connects to Tears of the Kingdom. Specifically, I was thinking from a lore perspective, Ocarina of Time is such a big game in the lore. I mean, we've seen that Nintendo at times does not care about the lore at all, and that's totally fine.
Yeah.
But Ocarina of Time is that weird kind of focal point in the Zelda lore where it branches into 3 separate paths. So it'd be interesting to see if maybe they let you have 3 different endings for the game, or if they play into that at all. Because that is, I mean, literally when you look at that, what is it, the Zelda, Zelda Historia, the Hyrule Historia. They have that giant map, and you see it's split into 3 separate parts. That's like, it'll be cool if they play into that more and how it breaks into the rest.
There is a really interesting opportunity here. I don't know how you would do it, but one of the timelines continues because Link doesn't exist in it anymore, right? Isn't that the idea of how it branches off from Ocarina? Because Link disappeared.
He gets defeated, yeah.
Right, he's defeated, yeah.
Yes.
And maybe, I don't know how you do it without, like, ruining the vibes of the ending. You know, like, hey, congrats, by the way, this one world's just screwed now, so well done, Link. But I do wonder if there's more you could do with that. Maybe they could and maybe they can even build off of that. Maybe you could, like, you know, suggest a sequel in that timeline, which we haven't really seen touched upon since, to my recollection, so...
No.
Yeah,
no direct sequel, at least, because I know Wind Waker eventually is like the sequel to that, but that's way down the line.
Right. Also, you know, this could be an opportunity for them to bring in some like cut elements, or add things that people have wanted. For instance, I believe you can't like ever melt Zoro's domain in this game. Like, that seems like a pretty obvious thing you can maybe build upon, where you can actually return it to its former state. Maybe you can finally beat the Running Man here in the game. Like, he always beat you in the original games, and maybe you can finally one-up him. That could also flesh out Hyrule Field a little bit more, Zach. Like, give us just more things to do there in general. And also, we touched on it in our, I forget what discussion, our predictions discussion. I love the idea one of you guys had about letting you play as Sheik at points, like maybe right, you know, maybe in a 7-year gap when Link's sleeping, or maybe before each temple. Sorry, what, John?
I said I would love to play as Sheik. That seems like such a opportunity.
Yeah, it does. Totally. Like, that's how you really flesh out your game. Like, that'd be crazy. So, yeah. All right. Anything else, guys? No, all right. Yeah, I think it's gonna be a big release. That's why they need to nail it. I can't wait to see. Oh, one more point I forgot to bring up, and I think that's also why they didn't show us it much this time. That I wish they had, because if they show it again and it's a 1-to-1 remake, that's gonna disappoint a lot of people. I think they know they have a lot they're worth showing, and that's why they're holding off. It's gonna be massive. People are gonna be shocked at how different this game is, in my opinion. All right.
You think it's? Oh,
What, no,
I was gonna say
yeah.
you think it's gonna be its own direct, maybe like how Star Fox had its own direct.
I think it'll be a 40th Zelda direct, like how there was a Mario 40th, or not 40th, the 35th direct. I think Zelda will get its own big one.
So we're gonna get more than 10 minutes to prep up for it. Good.
Yeah, I hope so. Let's see. All right, let's move on to you, John. What is your one point you want to touch on from the Nintendo Direct?
Oh, my feelings are on the only one Nintendo little non-RPG game, which is Switch Sports, and just like how they presented it was, I feel like there was something that could have been shown to make me feel more excited, but they just went in the most basic and bare bones method, and then a very long extended thumb war match. But one of the first things I want to cover, and I would love if someone clips this or something, is just that so many people of the like Wii Sports fandom are so tied to the Miis, and I get it. I get you care about that, but it's like they only add so much. Their character in a game. I think what's really added is that the Wii Sports series is kind of a sacred nostalgia. You know, it's a lot for these like mid-20s people. It's a very important thing, but for me, who's gone through and seen my nostalgic things be reused and changed, I've grown adapted to change. I'm okay with it. But I've seen so many people so hungry for their Miis in this game that you're getting older. I get it. Things change.
Basically, what John is saying, the sports mates are fine, and I agree.
Yeah, they're fine. Like, one thing I would say is maybe add head shapes and maybe allow us to adjust like the height and shape of eyes, and then I'll be like completely 100% down for them. Like, that's my only issue is like their head shapes. They don't have them.
No, it was interesting to see Switch Sports Resort being slotted somewhere right in the middle there between Xenoblade and a few others. And then in the middle, hey, we're done with this RPG. Here you go. And
Here's the exact opposite.
Yeah, and then a flyover plane comes in, and then you see Woohoo Island. Woohoo Island is the thing that shook me, because it felt like with the original Switch ports, they were deliberately moving away from what the Wii and Mii brand used to be.
Woohoo Island's just too iconic, and I'm glad they're respecting that. And call me a crackpot theory, but with how some of the gameplay is shown, it looks like you're going to be able to kind of roam the island, which is something I really wanted from Sprocco Square from the first game. Remember Sprocco Square, everybody?
Sprocco, yeah.
Sprocco.
Yeah.
But I also noticed the branding is in Woohoo Island as well, so now the Sprocco has spread.
Yeah,
it's
Sprocco Square. What I found always interesting about that is that it seemed like fully modeled and it seemed to be interconnected, but you could never do something with that interconnected space. Woohoo Island was already an interconnected space, with how it was presented in Mario Kart 7, with how it was presented in Wii Fit Plus, and with Wii Sports Resort. And you could already, and I'm pretty sure it's still in there, you can still do the flyover. I have the feeling the skateboarding is more open than it's showing, because there was not really any HUD when then the skateboard stuff was being shown. But to be honest, I'm not 100% sure how they're going to implement it. We also sometimes have to go uphill on a skateboard.
Yeah. I mean, I really hope that it has some kind of more exploration focus, but it is just fun. Like, I like exploring worlds like that. Mario Kart World, I actually love the free roam mode. John, I do think it's a little crackpot though, and this coming from the guy who just gave a whole bunch of Zelda theories. I don't think it's gonna happen. Even the skateboard segment, like, they called it a level, and so it's probably time based. You probably get reset. We've already seen things like that in the first game too, like with the jet skiing, which is back, by the way, where you just time out eventually. Like, and so. Anyways, to your point, John, I wish it would have that, especially if it's multiplayer. You can like roam the island with a group of friends. I'm not expecting it at this point, though.
I do think flyover will be back, though.
Yeah, for sure. That part will
Oh,
definitely
I think
do
they
that,
showed
but-
that even, didn't they? I
Yeah,
think-
yeah.
I thought they did, yeah.
Yeah, but I guess my main issue is the misguided direction on how it was shown. They really focused on just the sports and not like the online play. It's like, how will that work?
Right.
Because that was a big thing on the original Switch sports, is how online play worked. You know, we had the battle royale bowling. It's like, what about archery? How will that work online?
On a side note, is anybody shocked that sword play isn't back?
I mean,
Yeah, I was a little surprised about that too, because it felt like one of the it was like one of the first things they showed off on Wii Sports Resort, and it was the stage in Smash Bros. Has the whole like swordplay arena that you're in.
Yeah, partly because like everyone wanted to use a Wii remote like a sword, and you finally could with the Wii Motion Plus, so that's why they made a big deal about it. And it's funny because that sport's not back, though it was in the previous Switch sports, so it's a little understandable. Although I'm gonna miss the showdown mode, which I freaking loved in the original game, where you go around the island just beating up a whole bunch of enemies with the best music of all time.
Another crackdown theory is
Crackdown.
This is an Xbox podcast.
It's coming back. Yeah, Terry Crews.
They're gonna bring back the one versus 100 or the showdown mode, but it's gonna be boxing.
Oh my god, that'd be something. You know what? I'll
That'd
take
be
it.
awesome.
Well, also, I find this selection of sports a little weird overall. Like some are great and make total sense. You know, having archery back, of course. I think that skateboarding looks like it could be fun. Thumb wrestling, super weird one. I never associated that with like, you know, leisure type life, or even in a game, because you can do that with your friend. John, if you were here, maybe that's why it's there. If you were here, we could do it right now. You know, on the couch. You know, we used to live together. We could do it then. You know, any day we wanted to.
Yeah. It looks like it's all right. Like, I like the idea that where the risk reward of you having to press down your thumb to power it up. It's like, I can see the mechanics being okay, but to replace something like disc golf.
Well, right. It's more the sports that are missing that are weird. Disc golf was a huge thing. That was like one of the focus of the original game, because you could like throw it however you wanted to. They also had the canoe one was fun. I thought, like, it had the 4 people in the canoe. You could canoe around a little lake. And the bicycle one's missing too, but I don't care. That game sucked. And yeah,
Cycling wasn't good. No,
it wasn't. It was objectively the worst sport in that game.
Is jump rope considered a sport in this? Because they showed off jump rope.
No, it was
as
an
if
extra thing. Yeah.
Okay. I was gonna say, it's like that. No, that's not a sport.
Yeah.
So what are the? So wait, we got. What are
Let's
the
not go through it
sports?
all. There's table tennis.
No.
Yeah.
Okay, they're all good there.
But no, in general, I'm fine with it.
I'm fine with
there
it too.
are- Yeah, there are 1 or 2 things that I think is weird it's missing. But in general, you know, it's still a good package to
Well,
have.
froth.
Yeah.
Because the frisbee's gone, there's no froth now either, which is unfortunate. Instead, here's a weird thing for me: they brought back sports that were already in the other game that you probably owned, like golf, like bowling. It made sense at Wii Sports Resort because of the enhanced motion controls. It makes 0 sense here. And actually, this is my point, John. I'm stealing your point. I'm making my own point here. This should have been a Switch 2 edition. This is the game that made sense to make a Switch 2 edition, not its own game. Combine it with what you already have, and you have a pretty compelling package. But now it's like you're rebuying some of the same sports you already have, plus thumb wrestling and a few others from Resorts.
We have to realize that tennis and golf has been in every iteration of Wii Sports, so that's Wii Sports, Wii Sports Resort, Wii Sports
Wii
Club,
Right.
Nintendo Switch, and Nintendo Switch Sports Resort.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the marquee title, I guess, or marquee sports. So.
I mean, I get why golf is back, because that is the separate island on the coast of Wu Island that's solely a golf island. So I guess it has to be there, but it doesn't have to be there if you don't want to.
And
Did
to
you say
that
it sank
point,
into the ocean?
and to that point, the hole we already saw in the trailer is the same hole from the first game. We've already been on that hole.
And that hole also been in multitude of other Nintendo games.
And Golf NES, I believe, going way back, like 40 years.
Also in Clubhouse games, also on the same console.
That's right.
Yeah.
John?
Now, I will forgive them for those if they actually bring back what Resort did really well on the Wii, which is a lot of offline content or a lot of single-player content, if they bring back the 100-pin bowling, I forgive all your sins, Switch, because that is the best mode.
Yeah.
And if they're able to add new minigames to golf, or please just give me a new 18 holes. If they're able to add more to, because I think my one issue with the original one was that it was literally just them online. There was really no things I want to do myself, no challenges, except for maybe challenge the Mii's. Remember that when they added that in the patch? But yeah, like if they're able to really let this grow and add that content, that would excite me. But they didn't show anything to really excite me yet. It's just like, yes, these are the sports, but what? Come on, what? I need to see what's punching about this sequel.
It's interesting, yeah.
It didn't feel very additive. It just felt like exactly what you expect, if maybe not even quite that bar from a Switch Sports sequel. And I think it's a little disappointing. Like they didn't like blow us away. It's like very, very standard from what we've seen. Maybe there is more in there that we just don't know at this point. But the fact that they've already shown us all the sports makes me think it's basically what you see is what you get, plus how online worked on the first game, you know? So
yeah,
we'll see.
I do wonder if there's more modes to it, because that's what Wii Sports was best known for, Wii Sports Resorts particularly.
Right. True.
So if they do that more, then I'm sort of more okay with it in general. My main issue with Switch Sports is that there were basically, in single player, there were 1 or 2 extra modes. Online, it's just the one mode.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I'm just disappointed there's not, as far as I can tell, a new soccer equivalent. That was one of the best additions to Switch Sports. I freaking love that game, to the point that I think it was my favorite game in that game. It was just so freaking fun, and I wish we got something like that here. Maybe maybe there is. I just can't tell at this point. But that was, I just loved how arcadey it felt. Like even more so than the other sports. Like they just didn't care about being realistic at all. It was a lot of fun. It was basically Rocket League with people. And
in the same vein. I know it gave an absolute mean comment towards golf. I do like the way that Switch Sports did it with the emulation brackets.
Yeah, that was a cool idea. I agree. So
yeah, I agree with the soccer thing. But like, just make it beach soccer. Like that would be sick.
Yeah.
Or like field hockey or something, or like lacrosse, where it's like soccer adjacent, but you like are using the Switch Joy-Cons in a more active way.
Good point.
Oh yeah, I like that.
Absolutely. All right. Well, let's move on to Don. What topic do you want to talk about?
Let's go back to how this Direct opened. So they showed a full-on overview trailer for Rhythm Heaven Groove. I had to think about it for a second because it's called different in Europe.
Can I be honest real quick, Don? This is not to say anything bad about Rhythm Heaven. I knew instantly, I'm like, this Direct is going to be bad. For me. Opening into Rhythm Heaven.
I'm pretty excited for that game.
I like Rhythm Heaven.
Yeah, that game is coming out in less than a month. I really look forward to it. It's kind of crazy that they only had one dedicated Switch game. Spend 4 minutes, like a full overview trailer on that game.
That's what I mean.
And then the headlines coming directly after. Hey, all of these games coming to Switch 2 and Switch 1. There was only one Switch 1 game there, and it was basically a Switch 2 fest from that point onward.
Yeah.
To me, like, it sort of indicates that the run of Switch 1 is sort of coming to an abrupt end.
Is the end.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No. To be honest, like, we saw this coming for a while. Tomodachi Life felt like, sales-wise, the last big game for Switch 1. And this feels sort of like the aftermath. And I'm more excited about Rhythm Heaven than I am about Tomodachi Life. Doesn't mean it has the same sales potential as Tomodachi Life. This feels like sort of the aftermath of that, and then it sort of rides into the sunset.
Perhaps literally with Switch. Well, actually, never mind. Switch Sports isn't even a Switch 1 game. I was gonna say there are sunsets in Woohoo Island, but I'm totally wrong. So ignore me for being an idiot. But actually, that kind of speaks to your point. Like, I almost feel like that's a game that could be a Switch 1 game. I almost wonder now, with these chip prices and memory prices going up, if Nintendo's going to regret this decision to cut off Switch 1 seemingly, considering Switch 2 may start to grow not as rapidly as it had been. Maybe it won't. We don't know. So far they're doing well. But yeah, Switch 1 does seem to be, like, at least first party wise, and effectively done past Rhythm Heaven. And I guess it's kind of bittersweet for me. Like, I own the Switch 2. I'm happy moving on. At the same time, I don't mind them continuing to support Switch 1 if they want to. Especially with games that would run just fine on it, as you said, Rhythm Heaven, obviously. Though again, I think Switch Sports Resort would have been an appropriate Switch 1 title. Like, it didn't look like they were doing anything there that couldn't be done on Switch 1, besides downscaling the graphics a bit.
Yeah, to me it sort of feels like the end game, because there's a lot of also other pointers outside of the realm of like video games where this is happening. Of course, there are new rules, for example, in the European Union, where Switch 2s need to have a replaceable battery, they're not updating Switch 1. It's sort of coming to an end. They're basically stockpiling a bunch of Switch 1s and then move it into to the sunset. Yeah.
If it never passes a PS2, that's going to be something. It's so close. It may never pass a PS2 though at this point.
It's interesting. It's interesting to think about. But yeah, to the point, I really look forward to Rhythm Heaven, but I also sort of know, yeah, this seems about it for Switch 1, to be honest.
Right. Yeah. Any other thoughts, guys?
Yeah, I mean, I think Dom pretty much like hit the nail on the head on this being kind of the curtain call for the Switch 1. It's interesting to think about them kind of sunsetting that, because you see things like PlayStation hanging on to the PS4 for so long into the PS5's life cycle. But I think the big difference between those two is that with Nintendo, you're seeing a lot of support with the Switch 2, especially, I mean, you look at this Direct, it was so third-party focused. I think they're really trying to push everybody to the Switch 2 to be like, hey, this is where you can play everything you love about Switch 1, and it's going to have all this other stuff too. We want to get as many people as we can into this ecosystem, especially with all of their Nintendo Switch Online stuff they're doing. I think it makes sense that they are more quick to jump ship on the Switch 1 than in previous consoles where they've hung on for a little bit, like the 3DS.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. My thoughts on Rhythm Heaven is that it's a tough one to showcase. Like, you watch it and you're like, this is neat, but you don't feel it. This is a game you have to do a lot of feel.
Yes.
So you may be, so the president of Nintendo may have been right with their little statement there, but I don't even think it presents well as a Treehouse game, because like I said, you need to feel it. You need to press that button yourself.
Yeah, I'm shocked that they're not doing a demo for this game, because it's been so
demo
long
makes
since
so
Rhythm
much
Heaven.
sense.
Yeah.
I totally agree.
Well, we don't know yet, because remember, the Star Fox demo dropped randomly on this Direct. Like, it was just like,
that's
2
true.
weeks away.
That's a good point. So 2 points real quick on the Treehouse. Number one, I think I've totally called exactly what 4 games would be shown. I nailed it. I freaking called it. Second, there's something unique about the Treehouse in how boring they make almost every game look. I can't even judge games based on Treehouse. They make them look all incredibly bland. I think for me, like, it's better I just don't watch it, because it's gonna put me off those games. I don't know what it is. It almost feels like that they all have guns set on them, where they express a genuine opinion, they get shot instantly.
Oh my goodness.
It does feel like that sterile at times.
Right, it does.
Like,
so,
like when they were playing Star Fox multiplayer. Oh gosh, you shot me.
Yeah. Pretty much. So I still don't know what to think of Star Fox multiplayer. Like, they didn't make it look especially fun, but again, I can't judge it based on the Direct. So I'm still hoping it actually ends up being good. Also, real quick, Star Fox demo is great. So yeah, I'm glad that actually came out. A highlight of the Direct, having a demo of that game. I mean, I wish you would just do that. Just give us demos. Forget the Directs. Just give us demos of these games. It's so much better. So, all right.
Yeah.
Zach, what's your topic?
All right, so with my topic, it's no secret if you watched our reaction to the Direct, I was pretty thrilled. I'm a massive JRPG guy, and seeing all those games there, yeah, I was ecstatic. But the problem I have is that, yes, I was really excited for those games, but with the exception of Xenoblade, I'm going to be honest, I don't know that I'm going to play those games I was so excited for on my Switch. I think I'm going to play them on my PlayStation. And there's 2 reasons for that. One, Kingdom Hearts is a little different, because Kingdom Hearts, there were like a couple of texture and frame rate differences because they put out a PS5 version of the trailer afterwards. So that's a separate thing where just a preference out of power for my game. But the other thing, I know John detests this, but I am a achievement hunter. I love my platinum trophies. I love my achievements. And I got to be honest, a lot of times when I'm deciding between Switch 2 versus playing on another platform, if all things are equal, sometimes I lean towards my PlayStation, because I love doing the achievements. I love that extra, that extra challenge, that extra little bit. And I love that it's connected to a social account where other people can see what you're up to and see what achievements you've made. So I was really excited when I saw the challenges section of this Direct. We saw the DK challenge. I was like, finally, Nintendo, you're giving us something that is akin to achievements. This is awesome. This is exactly what I wanted. This raises the level of Nintendo games in my book, of making it a ton more appealing to get those, except for how it seems like they're doing it. I actually love, in theory, how they're doing it. I went in, I played the DK challenges. They are awesome. It sets you up. Some of the challenges just snap right into the challenge in the NSO. It puts you there.
I know, it works so well.
It works really well. Like, and I love the cards that you get in the end. They're really cool artwork, really nice cards. But the problem, there's two of them. One, it says that this is a limited time event.
Ugh.
Why
That's
Nintendo
silly,
with the limited time stuff makes no sense. But I mean, again, well, the limited time is dumb. But the thing that concerns me even more is that there haven't been any indications of what this does for you long term, other than just something for now. Like, are we going to have these cards in like tied to our account where we can maybe show them off on our profile, kind of thing? Like, is there any kind of sign from Nintendo that this means something longer than just that month span that this is available? Because that's what really does for me, is I love the social element of achievements. That's what actually makes me, into it, is because I have other friends that do, and I'll see like, oh, you got the platinum for this game. Oh, you're playing this because I saw you pop this trophy. And you see it on their profile. But with this Nintendo, the two things that bug me are, one, that it seems to be either time limited, and more importantly, it seems to be game exclusive. So this is like, they're doing a DK thing. I imagine if they bring this back, they'll do a Zelda thing for when closer to when Ocarina of Time comes out, where it's like there'll be Ocarina of Time challenges and there'll be classic Zelda challenges from all the NSO games, which is awesome. But again, it's not coming to all games. It's not going to allow third-party developers to put achievements in their games, seemingly for now. And it's another one of those instances of Nintendo being so close to doing what I want them to do, but they had to just throw their own wrinkle on it that kind of throws a wrench in it.
That brings up.
Okay.
Mine will be short.
Okay.
Mine brings up a concern that we don't know how well Nintendo is with consistency. Like the NSO dropping new games. Oh, where's the consistency in that? So like, if this was consistent, like if there was a new one right after this one, then I'll be like, this is kind of cool. But I don't know when they're gonna do it. Nintendo's vague. All right, but that's my point. It's like, I'm fearing on how consistent it is, because I like it, but if it's gonna be a temporary thing, it's gonna be a little disappointing.
I like challenges. I don't think I like achievements. And the reason why is that it sort of gives an indicator from, oh, I need to complete this 100% to see everything out of it, because the trophies or the achievements are so important. To me, like, the game experience is tenfold more important. So when I'm done with the game, I'm not looking at trophies or achievements anymore. It's a nice thing to have, but ultimately I just look at the game. Secondly, what do you get out of it? Nintendo fungible tokens.
Oh my god.
You
were waiting to say that. You were waiting.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it just feels like a weird half-hearted measure. Like, I don't fully know what it is. It feels like something that was probably cooked up in their marketing department, rather than, from the game dev side. I haven't tried them myself yet, Zach, and the way you made it sound like seemed more interesting, actually, than what I had seen from someone else on Twitter. Like, what was it? Were some of the challenges actually interesting? But I saw one person complain. It was just like, beat the level, like get to the end. And you get...
They are very beat the level, but what was cool about it was that it puts you right into it. So it's not like achievements where like you have to play the game up to a point to get to this thing. It literally, you press one challenge and it's like beat K. Rool, and it just drops you into the K. Rool boss fight.
Yes.
The unique challenges came from the Bonanza ones, because those ones were actually trying to like push you to do something more than what was standard. Like, one was showing, like, you have to beat the final challenge without using your powers.
Okay, right.
And they also auto-pop, too. Like, when I just loaded up DK Bonanza, I got a notification that was, like, 3 of these achievements you've already done just by playing the game already. So that was kind of nice that it, like, retroactively gives you that. Because if they do end up bringing this to other games, like if they make a Mario Odyssey or a Breath of the Wild thing, having those auto-pop from what I've already done, like, I'm sure there's going to be a challenge for doing all the shrines or maybe getting all the moons or something like that. And if you've already done that, it's nice that it'll auto pop and not have to make you do that very extensive challenge all over again.
It's crazy that they have the infrastructure seemingly to do achievements and they're just not doing it. Like, this is the closest we're going to get. I say this is one, like, I historically haven't been into achievements myself either. I will say though, like, I don't care. Like, if they want to add them, I'm totally fine with that. And I do think it would actually be beneficial to in particular the NSO games. I think that'll give people a really good drive to try some of those games out. Like if you know that there's something to earn, like it may just pique your curiosity enough to try it out, or give you enough incentive to. And it's a little disappointing that they kind of dropped the ball seemingly on what could have been a really cool opportunity, as opposed to this time limited thing, which doesn't really affect anything as far as I can tell. Like, what do you even do with the cards when you get them? Like, what can you do? Yeah, it's like
you can look at them.
You can look, exactly. It's like the Mario movie cards you can collect in the app. It's like, cool, like these are just PNGs. I can't do anything with them. I can't trade them. I can't take pictures of them because the app won't even let you take pictures. And
just like achievements.
I mean, at least achievements
I like that the achievements are at least like you can show them off on your account and other people can see them. There's no indication that anyone can see what you've done in these challenges. There's no social element to it. It's funny with Wii U. Like you think back to the Wii U where you get the stamps, you could use those stamps in your Miiverse posts. Like there was actual incentive to have them because you have something that you could show off to someone else. It was a weird way of doing it, but it was something that was unique to your account where you could be like, hey, I have this. Like I can use this stamp.
Right.
You can share them. I saw that there was a share button.
Oh, you can
share button.
What's
it?
Share?
Just share. Social media or like friends. It basically will connect to your phone or
like Twitter.
Post something.
Yeah. Well, we'll see if Nintendo ever expands upon that. I mean, it's interesting now that they are getting more third-party support. It seems like that, might be a good thing for them to look into, considering that would give them another possible edge. But on the other hand, like if games are selling well enough, maybe it doesn't matter, And especially with Xbox, who knows what's happening with Xbox these days? There'll only be 2 platforms in the future, or 3, I guess if we count PC. We can even buy these games anyway. So yeah. All right, guys. I think we're about done. Any final points you want to touch on at all that we didn't address, or yeah?
So to me, to the point that Zach was making earlier, and I already mentioned it before, but to me, like, I just play games, and the majority that I play games these days is in handheld mode because I have like a total of 5-hour commute one time per week.
Jeez.
So for me, like being able to play the game's handheld mode is far more important than any sort of achievement on my profile.
Yeah, and I played Kingdom Hearts 3 demo in my bed. I watched Woody talk about Heartless, and so that was interesting. The Heartless are taking our friends.
It is funny because that is the two things I decide between when, like I said, when all things are equal, it's basically comes down to do I want to play this game in handheld mode or do I want to play this game for the achievements? And when it comes to more like RPG kind of games, I generally go with the achievements. But most indie games, I will buy on my Switch because it's much more fun to play the indie games in handheld mode.
That makes sense.
I mean, I look forward to playing Kingdom Hearts fully in handheld mode.
It ran great.
Yeah.
That I played the demo. I was like, wow, is it 60 FPS? It felt really smooth.
It felt, I'm not sure it was 60 FPS, but it felt really smooth.
It was aiming. It was targeting 60. It did. It was like between. It kind of hovered between 50 and 60.
Okay.
That's pretty close. Close enough. Not Star Fox's rock solid 60 frames per second though. All right.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Is that it, guys, or is there anything else we need to bring up?
I mean, I don't want to touch too much on the third-party stuff. I'm not going to go into any specifics of games or anything, but I do think that this Direct was very notable in that third parties are something that have been a story all throughout Nintendo's life of, like throughout the entire Wii era and Wii U era, a lot of, or not, I say not the Wii, but especially the Wii U era, a lot of the problems Wii U had was these third parties not showing up on the console. And so I think even though it wasn't the most exciting to people who don't care, I think having Kingdom Hearts 4 at the end there was a statement by Nintendo to be like, hey, we're serious about this. We come to play. Your games can come here. The big ones that everyone's looking forward to, they can be played on Switch 2 day one. And I think that, even though it wasn't the most exciting from a Nintendo standpoint, I think from a standpoint, not to be boring about it, but I think that was something that made shareholders very happy more than it made fans very happy, to say.
You would think, but the share price dropped after the Direct, which doesn't mean anything in the long run, but it seemed the reaction in general, like I guess may have affected the stock price to whatever degree temporarily, but I mean that never matters in the long run. In any case, third party support is looking much better than it has in the past. and that's only a good thing for pretty much everyone. So can't really complain on that front. I
It's
just wish
healthier,
less of the director dedicated third parties than first parties, but
Yeah, and one of my final things I could say is, like, while we may have not been shown a lot of Dusk Blood and Zelda and all these like other titles that they were just like, here it is, bye. They're coming this year. We will see them.
Yeah.
They're going to be. It's going to be sooner than we expect. So, you know, that's why I gotta think is like, it's still gonna come. It's still there.
Yeah.
Like this sadness that I feel like I didn't get to see more of it. That's just a temporary feeling. It's coming. And I think that's exciting because this fall's coming up with a lot. We got Call of Duty. We got Zelda. We got Duskbloods. And yeah, so that's my thought is like, they're coming.
yeah, they are. It's going to be...
What is interesting to me is that Nintendo, while they showed a few things of 2027, they kept it mostly within this year. Like the only big Nintendo side game that's coming next year was Xenoblade Genesis. The rest was all 2026.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, they did say that it would be focused on this year, and they weren't kidding. And we're halfway through the year already, so it really won't be that... I feel like the year just began still, and we're already halfway done. So these games, Ocarina of Time Remake will be in our hands before we even know it. So that's the crazy thing.
Do you think we'll have another regular Direct in September?
No, man.
Yeah.
Honestly, with Nintendo these days, I have no freaking clue. I think there will be a Direct. Whether there's a regular Direct, I'm not so sure. So... but they do need to show Mario at some point, assuming however far along in development that is. So who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's about it for us here, everyone. I think we can wrap it up. So thanks for watching. That's our thoughts, our topics on the recent Nintendo Direct, and we'll wait and see if there'll be another one here this fall or not. So with that, thanks for watching, everyone, and we'll catch you later. Bye.
Ciao, guys.